Welcome to the Starter Girls Podcast, your ultimate source of inspiration and empowerment. We're here to help women succeed in every area of their lives: career, money, relationships, and health and well-being, while celebrating the remarkable journeys of individuals from all walks of life who've achieved amazing things. Whether you're looking to supercharge your career, build financial independence, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, the Starter Girls Podcast is here to guide you. Join us as we explore the journeys of those who dare to dream big and achieve greatness. I'm your host, Jennifer Loading, and welcome to this episode. Welcome to another episode of the Starter Girls Podcast. Wherever you are tuning in today, we are so thrilled to have you. I'm your host, Jennifer Loading, and I'm so excited about my guest today. We've been trying to connect, I think, for a couple weeks here now. We're finally going to make this happen today, so I'm super, super excited about that. Let me paint a picture of what this episode's going to be about. So picture a life filled with vibrant color, boundless creativity, and the courage to continually evolve. Imagine someone with challenges, someone who challenges the very notion of success, not as a simple accumulation of wealth or power, but as the opportunity to craft a world uniquely their own. This is a story of reinvention, of carving paths where none existed, and of bringing light and joy into spaces that inspire others to do the same. So I'm excited to chat with her today. She's just kind of full of energy, and I know we're going to have a great conversation. But before we do that, I do need to do a quick shout out to our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Productions. Need to add excitement to your YouTube videos or some expert hands for editing? Look no further. Walt Mills is the solution you've been searching for. Walt is not only your go-to guy for spicing up content, he's the force behind a thriving film production company with numerous titles in the pipeline. Always on the lookout for raw talent, Walt is eager to collaborate on film and internet productions. With a background deeply rooted in entertainment and promotion, Walt Mills leverages years of skills to give you the spotlight you deserve. Want to learn more about Walt and his work? Head on over to waltmillsproductions.net and let your content shine. All right. And with that, I do want to make one other note. Be sure you head on over to startergirls.com if you want to stay in the loop with what's going on and in our community and receiving our newsletter, our monthly newsletters. Head on over there to www.startergirls.com. All right. We're going to get this thing started. So my guest today, from humble beginnings in Mongolia to a globe-trotting creative with over 60 countries on her passport, Aisha Makara has dedicated her life to empowering others to live boldly and authentically. She's an artist whose work has literally reached for the stars, engraved on golden plaques sent to outer space by SpaceX, and a visionary author of the Joyful Living Guidebook, blending art and practical wisdom. With a degree in civil engineering and thriving hospitality business in Portugal and years immersed in artistic and leadership communities worldwide, Aisha is a testament to the power of resilience, imagination, and a life lived in Technicolor. So Aisha, welcome to Starter Girls. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thank you for having me, Jennifer. I'm so excited to share my wisdom today.
So much fun. So much fun. So, you are a beautiful soul. And and the thing that I love about you when I met you the first time is just your energy. I think it's infectious. And, I've often said this when I'm working with people myself, people get excited when people are excited, right? Like when you're excited and passionate about something, people want to know what you're doing. What's going on in your world? Why are you like that? Right. And so I love that you have that, infectious energy. And for somebody who really picks up on people's energy, it's refreshing.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. This week was a little bit tough for me. I'm like, it's so cold here. It's getting like very cold. And I realized that I don't have enough warm clothes. And plus, like, I have like, no air conditioning in the house. And like, I get like anything, like no heater works. So I get to kind of like figuring out these days how to survive in this cold, but it's not so cold. It's not like a ridiculously cold. It's just maybe like, so cold. I get to put like a little bit extra jacket, but like, and I imagine when my world is stuff.
I just imagine when you're traveling, you've got to acclimate to the different areas, right? And you're moving around, and and I'm going to give you grace on this anyways because it's been kind of chilly here. I mean, I'm in the south of the states in Texas. It's not we get cold weather, but it's not a long thing. And it's not like something you think of when you go to like Montana or Alaska or whatever. But I'm with you because when it gets a little bit chilly, I'm just like, eh. And you know what? Today it's overcast. There's no sun, and I got the backdrop kind of coming in, and I'm like, it's just kind of cool and wet feeling. And I'm like, can you just give me some sun, please? Can you just like put some sunlight through the window for me? You know?
Exactly. That I'm the same person. I'm like very like I love the sun. Every time when I have in sun, I'm like, yeah, my day is going to be great, you know. But when it's not sunny, I'm like, it's not even easy for me to get out of the bed. I'm very, very like dependent sometimes on the weather, you know. It's like that's why I couldn't live in Norway. Even so, you know, like my life in Norway was very like successful and secured and safe and in all areas, but I was very dependent on weather, and weather was not good. It was all the time cold, raining, disgusting weather. But some people love it. You know, I'm not one of these people, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I really appreciate the comfort I have in this country, like the traveling part. You know, like the flexibility and do absolutely anything I want. In the same time, I'm like, I'm so missing the sun, and I'm just seeing the sun like 2 months, about like 2 months, maybe 3 months max a year. And I'm feeling like it's so little, and I'm always sick. I'm feeling not like, satisfied within myself. So in the beginning, of course, when I started to go, I started to think like to move somewhere else. It scares me, and I started to kind of like think like I'm so comfortable here. Why I'm going to move somewhere if I'm like so comfortable in this country? I'm feeling so safe, so comfortable. But at the same time, I was feeling like I just have a one life. I get to find that sunny place where I feel happy being me, and I don't feel like this frustrated time to time, like I was feeling in Norway just because it's so cold, like all the time.
Yeah. Well, and it's great that you have that ability to do that. I'm with you. People, I joke about how I get up really early every day. I'm up at 5 every day. I was up at 5 today. I'm up 5 every day. Doesn't matter which time I go to bed, I get up and I'm ready to go. And but it's funny because I have this whole window of time between the time I get up and when I really want to start talking to people, having clients or conversations. And people ask me sometimes, like, why does it take you so long to do that? Like, what are you doing? And it's because, like when we have the flexibility to do the things we want to do, we kind of set parameters on how we want to live our life, right? And I really value my mornings. I value that time to just kind of unwind, prepare my day. I like to drink my green tea, feed my animals, my cats, all the animals, and just kind of ease in. There was a time when I had to be up early every day to maneuver kids. And there was also a time when I had to be up early every day to go to a job, and now I'm in a different place in my life where I have a little bit more flexibility and freedom. Not as much as you to move around like you. I admire you for that, but I have the freedom to kind of dictate how I want to live my day. And that's what I think is a blessing, is when you get to that place where you can sort of start deciding how you want to control your day and not your day control you. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's why I'm like, this is what I'm saying to my friends. I'm like, many of my friends is jealous, like kind of like envy me, or like the way I live my life, because I'm always creating it. I'm like really like thinking how I can create my reality, what it matters for me, what I'm going to do next, why I want to do it next. Because like since I'm a child, I was always being free and wild, and always like trying to kind of figuring out my own reality the way I want to live it. Of course, I have this responsibility with school, as a kid, and the other thing. But out of that routine, like you can do whatever you want, like.
Right.
And I feel like many times in our life, we don't have flexibility in our brain to actually realize that how creative we can be. And many people are just stuck in their reality or their routine, and it's not easy for them even to start something new and different, because it's again, it's a new habit, it's a new thing in their everyday life. For example, I had the moments when I was doing in 5 a.m. club, like 5 a.m. Of Robin Sharma book.
Right.
So I started to do all these 5 a.m. things. I was running in the morning, do my design, like my journaling, gratitude journaling. I was doing the designing my day, with meditation. I was designing my day, how I feel, my intention of the day, and I still do that. And I'm just like, today, for example, I just do meditation in the morning. I do like my intention of the day or intention of the week. And I'm just focusing on that. I'm not focusing, oh my gosh, my friends has said something to me today. And I'm like, I get to be all over the places because it was not like a pleasant conversation. I just feeling like I'm better than that. I'm saying, okay, thank you very much for sharing with me this. I really appreciate it, and I give a hug and I'm like, I will think about that. Or like, I just know that it doesn't matter for me, and I'm just feeling like I don't need to fight or to kind of like say something that would be like spiky, but I just want to like embody it and say like, okay, thank you, I love you and something like that. And I'm feeling like people don't realize that we empower of our reality the way we want to react or act.
Yeah. Aisha, I'm listening to you because I think there's a lot to this. It's we are responsible for how we behaved our emotion, right? And that's what I always tell people. Nobody can really make you feel bad or make you feel a way you don't want to feel unless you allow that to happen, right? We have to be proactive about what we take in and receive, how we process. And I don't know about you, I'm gathering this by listening to you. You probably do a lot of what I do. When something goes sour, I try to look and go, okay, what's this going on in this situation here? Am I overreacting? Am I being sensitive today? Is this person really kind of jerky or not? You know what I mean? Like, I like to look at and pull myself out. And I talk about this, I don't know who it is. Is it Carl Jung or what? They talk about that whole subject object shift where you pull yourself out so that you can look at this, what's going on. I refer to it kind of like we're playing a game, like we're controlling, we're the game piece and we're controlling it, and we get to decide freak out, not freak out, handle well, not handle, like we get to call the shots. Yeah, well, it requires introspection, and people don't always like that because that means you have to be accountable to something. So they have to take charge of it. No, this is all good, Aisha, and thank you for sharing all that. I think the message here is you're controlling your destiny. You're controlling how you go about your day and choosing the people that you allow to come into your life, which you should be. I think that's important. I think that gets back to us talking about your circle of influence, because we are like the sum of the people we hang around. And I think it's very wise that we be selective about who we keep as company, and are they aligning with our values and the direction that we're going and our desires, right? And if they're not, then we just have to recognize that that's probably not somebody we're going to keep tight in the circle, So I love this. I do want to jump into, because everybody's going to be like, who is this? Who is Aisha? Like, what has she done? And like, how is she getting to even do all this? Like, we're talking about, we've spent now like 18 minutes talking about designing our day and choosing our life people and all of that, right? And they're going, they know what I do. They're going to be like, what is she doing? So walk us back. I want you to tell us, because you have traveled all over the place, and you're designing your life. You're getting to do this, but obviously you've done some cool things to bring you to this point. So share a little bit about your journey and how you've gotten to this place you're at right now.
So since I'm a kid, is like I've been very like creative, because I grew up without parents, and I get to kind of like every time I get to figuring out before, like what I want to do every day. First, of course, you kind of looking for the parents, when you're in the environment, and after you started to kind of explore the environment. And I'm lucky because I had a very safe environment, even so adults didn't care so much, and they've been brutal and punish you all the time if you do something wrong, like, and beating you up, or like putting you in a corner, or like doing some like nasty things, but not like nasty in the sense that they're sexual abusing you or something like that, but like so I feel like I grew up in a little bit brutal environment when people didn't communicate with me. They didn't have ability to communicate and have a conversation with me as a kid. And I was always like a wild, free kid that I always going out in the nature and like looking for something. I'm very curious all the time, and like and I've been always protected, because it doesn't matter how far I go, and I've been some adults who bring me back. Sometimes I'm coming back myself with some some things like some animal or like little frog or whatever, because I was so curious to learn the world or learn about the world. So like I was like very like a very very curious and very hyper kid. I was doing so many things in the same time. I was leading the other kids. I was like every time when kids want to go with me on adventure, like they were like crying and say, I want to go back, I want to do this. And I said, like, you know what? next time I will not take you with me because you're crying and you're doing this. And I was very like, kind of talking to the kids like, I don't like it. It's better I go by myself than I go with you and cry baby and
Yeah.
carry you on me. I didn't like it. And I was communicating all of this like with the kids. And some kids like it. Some kids like kind of take it in, and they were like, okay, next time I go with Aisha, like I will be more, mature,
Prepared.
not crying, being more curious, being more playful, and so
Yeah.
it's going to create more better, like a playful ground for us to play. But some kids, like they were like fighting with me. They were like saying something nasty and saying to me like, and I'm like, I don't want to be your friend. Like that's it. I'm just continue to do my things. It doesn't matter. But I'm always open to to involve you with what I do. It's up to you to decide. Are you curious about that? Are you like positive about that, or it's something not for you? So since then, I was doing a lot of things. I've been like leader of the class, and after I've been taking the when I'm the end of the school, I've been in not good company. I ended up in not good company, and I was like doing many things that stealing and doing all this like things that was not good. And I didn't, as a kid, you don't understand when you don't grow up in the environment where people explaining you. They were just beating you up.
Right.
Don't explain anything. So like for me, when I was 14 or 15, some like a pivot moment happened in my life. I've been like I also been suicidal, for like for some time because of the environment, because of the everything. Like I didn't have any friends at some point in my life. That's why I ended up in this bad company, because I want to feel like this as a teenager. I want to feel like this belonging, and nobody was supporting me. Like all my classmates was laughing at me every time, or like the adults or teachers was like saying to me like they were not like a supportive environment, like where I
Sure.
can like thrive. It was all about like pushing you down to the ground and actually like you die or something like that. So when I was 14 to 15, something happened. My friends started to die. Many of my friends I was hanging out, they started to die of different like accidents or different things. And I was,
Wow.
and they were even not like 18, they were 16, 17. And I was sitting there one day in one of the funerals, and I was feeling like, oh my gosh, would I survive until 18, or would I die as well? Because I'm very young, but I was feeling like I already lived so much, and I was feeling like I already like so many challenges and such a hard, not easy time in my life was there, because I had so much pain, like I couldn't even explain that pain because I was in such a like strong pain within myself. So I was sitting there, and I decided I get to go and live my life. I get to go and travel around the world. That was like my idea when I was at 10. I was telling to my teachers, well, I'm going to travel around the world. I'm going to visit all these places that's, here in the geography class. But my teacher was like, yeah, of course. Like, you're always like somewhere, not here. And,
Right.
so I started to do that slowly, when I go to the hitchhiking club, I started to kind of do my own research. I was doing like slowly, like in exploring myself, and I was brave enough to go and actually challenge myself to ask questions, to all these workshops, and the people I started to meet people who's doing this, who's hitchhiking around Russia. That time I was living in Russia, and so I started to do that with them slowly, and after like I started to travel, and I said to myself, if I want to travel around the world, I get to move to Moscow, to the capital, because it's going to be easy for me with like travelings and so on and so on. So I moved to Moscow. Of course, the first time when I arrived to Moscow, from the small like I grew up in a very small village, and after like I moved to the city when I started my university, and I was feeling like it was also challenging for me to go to the university, finish the school, like passing all these challenges, because I meet the right angels in my life, and I was just trusting that these angels kind of like didn't give up on me, they were like continue to kind of like pushing me, because I was drinking a lot, and I was like living in the street that time as well. I didn't care, I was like, nobody cares about me, and kids were saying to you, oh, your mother doesn't love you, your mother doesn't want you, or something like that. Nobody wants you, something like that. It's very not easy for the kid when
Sure.
other kids says that, and other adults say
Right.
to you, and how you can like chat, like how you overcome that, in your everyday life, when it's like every day that's pushing you, say nobody loves you, nobody wants you, or something like that. And of course you get to grow from that and say, no, everyone loves me and everyone wants me, and everyone wants to be with me and wants to be with me in my life or something like that. So it took me a while, of course, to get to that point in my life where I am right now. And at the same time, I learned one thing, that when I started to travel around Russia, small trips here and there, I started to kind of like creating my life. I started to say like, okay, what I'm going to do until I'm 60. And so I was like, I want to travel, until I'm 30, and from 30 to 40, I want to like be a businesswoman. And from 40 to 50, I want to be mentor, from 50 to 60, I want to travel around the world with UNESCO, with UN, like just volunteering and helping other people, something like that. So in my mind, I was like thinking all of that. And I was thinking 60 years is such a long life. And after I die, something like that. But now
Right.
I changed completely. I said like, I'm going to live until 200 years. I have so much to live. I have so much to do. And, it just continue. My work is just getting more and more that I'm doing. And I'm feeling like it's just great. I'm really happy and grateful that I have energy to do what I do today. And I'm feeling like everyone can do that. Everyone can sit down, write things, and say who they want to be. Like, like kind of like writing your letter to yourself and just say like who I want to be in 10 years. And just come back to that letter time to time and see where you are right now. And
Right.
in reality, like, not so many people do that. And I was doing it when I was 15, because I'm a nerd. I was reading a lot of books, and I'm always reading and reading and reading and reading.
Yeah.
So somehow I just understood that I can create whatever I want to create. And it started to just happen naturally. I just like go and ask questions. I'm just curious and, navigating myself through that question. Sometimes I'm just observing and I'm just moving. When I moved to Moscow, it was very interesting because I felt like like I was transferred from my university to another university because I was very active that time in politics and, like general, like very active, was leader of my university class as well, but all the time, like they're choosing me as a leader, they're choosing me to lead and communicate and, be this middle person between teachers and, students. And I just feel like because I can communicate my needs, I can communicate what I want. It helps me to, and I'm clear about that. This is what I want. Sometimes you asking kids like, they say to you, I want this. And you ask, why do you want that? And they don't
Right.
know the answer, and I had the answer, I know why I want it. And I was communicating that. And I understood that many people don't know what they want in life. And I said, maybe I don't know either. I have idea what I want and I move towards that, and it's okay to get lost time to time as well in life because it's life. Life is everything, and I'm feeling like many people forgetting to create the reality that they wanna to live. They're not forgetting. They just don't even think about that.
Right. Well,
They're forgetting since
they're,
they're a kid, because as a kid you can create so many things, and you like as an adult you just going in the patterns or like on this I call it like a routine things, like you're going work, home, go maybe like a weekends to hang out with your friends. It's all the same things every week. That people don't just go in this circles and cycles and cycles, and they don't want to change it
right.
because they're getting too comfortable and don't want to get discomfortable, because it takes time to get comfortable again in a new, or like you expand your comfort. And in the end, I believe when you travel around the world and you've been in many, many different places, you understand, at least I understood, the whole world is my family. It doesn't matter where I'm in the world. It doesn't matter like in which country I am, speaking a language I don't speak language. I know it's my family here, that I haven't met yet. And they're here for me, to help me, to support me, to love me, to give as much as they can from their side. And I'm doing the same. I'm sharing whatever I can share in the moment. My wisdom, my attitude, my like way of being, and many other things. And many people actually appreciate my way of thinking, and it's opened up for them more space to think for themselves. That's my book about, it's more about like open up that space that people can think for themselves. They can start to think, because people forgetting even to think, And
Yeah. Well,
that's interesting for me because I love to think.
yeah. Well, and you're feeling life. So I think, yeah, I mean, we're kind of, our theme keeps coming back on this idea of designing your life and removing yourself out of the autopilot. So you started traveling early. I love that you talked about you made this choice when you were young. And it's funny because I've had other guests on the show that had those pivotal moments at a very young age. I don't think a lot of people get that. They usually have them later in life, but I meet these rare, young people that will have that moment where they decide. I had a guy on my show a few weeks ago that has a cleaning company here where I live, and he's 20. He's like my middle child's age now. He's 24. He started his first company, I think, when he was like 17. And he said he was getting in trouble or something, didn't like what was happening. And he started reading, I think he started watching some YouTube videos on entrepreneurship. And he opened up like 2 companies before he opened up this cleaning company. And now he's doing really well. He's won several awards for his company. I think he's gotten like Entrepreneur of Year in his community. And so it's kind of neat when you hear these kinds of stories. So I do want to ask you, because I love that you started when you start traveling, you put yourself out there, because I think this speaks some truth into manifestation. When you start deciding what you want, you start doing the things you need to do to make that happen. And it's natural. That's why I always say, I always say, whatever you focus on, you're going to create more of, because if you're hyper focused on something in a situation that's not favorable, you're going to continue to have an unfavorable situation. You're going to make it happen because we have a self-fulfilling prophecy. Or you're going to keep looking for things to be that way.
Yeah.
If you focus on what you're trying to create, you're going to be looking for the things you're trying to create. I want to know about your work too, because I looked over your bio and you've done so many things. You've been in like hospitality, am I correct? And then you're creative. So you've done something with SpaceX. Tell us a little bit about this work you've done and what you're doing.
So when I was a teenager, I was very good. School is always easy for me, very easy, and but I didn't so much pay attention to that. I'm like, it's very easy. It doesn't matter if I'm like preparing for the exam 2 days before the exam. I'm always like passing the exam, even like a day before the exam. So it's like it was very easy to study and doing the things from my perspective. And one, it was a very also like painful moment in my life when I finished the school, and the teachers was telling me like, oh, you get to go do this regional exams and like, to rate our school to the next level or something like that. So I went to the regional exams, like this country level exams, because it was like a new program just was created. And so the teachers was getting like a bonuses if they like more students wanted to take this program. So like a school will get more bonuses. And my dream was that time I want to be a journalist, and I was working toward that. I was in a newspaper, like a local newspaper. I was publishing my things there. I was doing my own school newspaper. I was doing all the drawing and writing the articles about something. So like I was doing, my work to get where I want to be. And when the time came, I got very bad scores. Anyway, so I didn't go to the school, but I didn't give up. I said like, okay, who we need? We need engineers and doctors. And I'm like, I don't want to be a doctor, because I was trying a little bit to go to the medical, but like it was not my thing. So okay, I'm going to be engineer. It was very easy to get to engineer school, and I started to study engineering, and eventually I moved to Moscow, and after I moved to Norway. But then in reality, I was also like a hustle, I was doing real estate on the side. I was doing like a property management in Russia, like just like because I want to travel, and every time I was creating different ideas, what I can do, how I can make money. So I knew if I want to travel for like 2 weeks or 1 month or 3 months, so I knew that how much money I need to make and how much money I get to spend, how much money when I come back for 2 months, I get to recover kind of myself. So I started to kind of create my own budget, of living budget for the year. And slowly it started to kind of like evolve. Of course, when I started to work in Norway, I got like very good salary and I had very, very comfortable life. So I didn't need to like, I was already saving money, I was traveling and I was started to save and save and save. And but when I moved to Portugal, when I discovered Portugal and I moved to Portugal, I wanted to work as an engineer again, like looking for the engineering job, but the salary was very, very low. And I was like, I'm not going to work for this salary. Like, I don't want to do this. I will create something different. And because I knew I have a savings enough to live like next 2 years in Portugal. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm kind of retired right now, but like it's not like really retired. I'm just figuring out what I'm going to do next, and that what happened. Because first I moved to Spain and it was very more expensive. And I get to learn Spanish because Spanish people don't speak like English, and Portuguese people speak English, And I'm like, okay, so I can kind of like adapt myself here. I still can learn Portuguese in my own speed, in my own kind of way, and I don't need to put so much attention towards language. I can just go with the English. And what happened is I discovered like a property management, or I discovered first real estate. I was like, I'm going to do a luxury real estate. So I went to do like my license, I started to do all the real estate things, and it was not easy. Real estate is not easy things at all. It was for commission, and the way you get to like do all of that, and it was very pain in the ass to do that. But then and after that I moved to the property management. I said to myself, property management is way more easy. It's like I like it. I like hospitality, and I like to travel, and it's kind of like connected to what I'm doing. So I started to do property management, and after like 2 years or something was doing that, I started to get down, like feeling more like burnout. And after 3 years of burnout, because I learned I was doing it not because I wanted, or like I wanted to, because it's something I was passionate about. I was doing it because it was easy to make money, and it was easy to like kind of like, create that amount of the money, and like a lot of money to kind of like do whatever I want, and it was great.
Yeah.
But in that time when I was in my 20s, it was completely different, like a different kind of like way I was thinking. I was being way more emotional, way more like kind of like dramatic in some things, and so I decided, my relationship didn't work out at that moment as well. I had like too much on my plate, so I couldn't deal with that. So I just went to travel again. It was my kind of like escape of traveling again.
Right.
I went to travel again. And eventually I moved to Miami. I was traveling a lot in the United States for like every year. I went there for like a month or something like that. And I'm like, okay, now I'm moving full time. So I moved to Miami. And I called myself, okay, I'm retired again for 6 months. I'll get to figure out the 6 months what I'm going to do, like the way I want to do my art career, because I decided to be an artist, full-time artist. So I started to interview hundreds of artists, asking questions like, what impact do you want to create? What's to inspire you to be an artist? What's like, like questions that I was listening to them, I was recording them, and all of them have this idea saying like, oh, until I get successful, it took me 7 to 8 years. Like many of them said to me that. And I said like, okay, but like I'm already, working towards something. So I'm not starting from scratch. I'm starting somewhere. I don't know where. I'm starting somewhere, and I just decided to switch my career, and I just want to focus on my art this time, because I was doing art, but more like a hobby, And and I started to kind of like push myself towards that career more and more. And I started to do art classes. I started to go to the different. I moved to the design district, because I was thinking when I moved to Miami, I was first living in the North Beach, and next to the beach, like just like a rent little room, And I was thinking, okay, I want to move somewhere rich. I want to be in a rich neighborhood, but I didn't know which is a rich neighborhood. So I was started to ask people. They say to me like, oh, you get to move to the design district. So I started to look for the property that is under my budget, like something that studio, that where I can create art, but living by myself. I don't want to have any roommates, anything like that. So it took me about 4 months, of 4 months or 3 months to manifest it. The everything, the design district, the next to the all the things. I was doing art classes in a restaurant, and I was doing art classes in this like a timeout, but it was not timeout. It's like many small like restaurants together. And I was talking to the management, and they give me the opportunity to create it, bring my canvases and just talk to the people. They were paying me like being there for twice a week. And, it was like a kind of like enough. And plus I was started to work for the meditation center, like a event or like a welcoming host or something like that for like many events, like they have the events, and you work like about 16 hours or 15 hours a day, because they open like until like 2 a.m. I don't remember, but COVID hit, so I didn't know how to organize myself, or like, when the switch is happening, I was very scared, and like many things happened, but I reinvent myself, and I feel like by reinventing myself, and end up to do more like art classes for the kids, started to do more like connecting more like a teacher. I become more like a teacher for the art classes, and because many organizations paying you like a good money for like do these classes for the elderly, for the disabilities, for the kids, like, and of course, I've been in galleries. I was working in the galleries and doing a lot of things connected to art, and I feel like everything in life, when you're successful in your mindset and you're positive, you have positive attitude, and you're always showing up when you're saying, I'm going to show up, it helps a lot. And you're always on time, it's always helping, like of your professionalism and like level of the professionalism you would like to be. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're artist or you're like a engineer or whoever you are, like when you're on time and you're showing up, that's what matters. And this is what I started to kind of like continue to build up. I end up in the Art Basel, I building my network, and and I feel like every time I get my like I started to sell my art. I was like living in a van. I bought a van. I decided to kind of like create my own budget. So I knew that I needed like about €1,000, $1,000 or something like 1,300, depends in the months, to pay all my bills, and if having time out if I want to with my friends. So like I knew how to create it. I knew how to make it. I was selling my prints on the beach. It was so easy. It was so easy to sell my prints, take $50, But the thing is like people don't understand how easy it can be when you're open and you're understanding like, okay, how much time I want to work, how much time I want to do this. By living in the van and opening that the space, for example, for me, that I don't need to work so much. If I decided to work 2 days a week and I make, for example, $500, I'm good, and I knew that if I want to make like $1,000 for next month, so I want to go and be national park and just do my art all 2 weeks, I can do that too. I just go to that national park, I will stay there and I will do my art and I will come back again. Or even in the national park, I sometimes meeting people, say like, oh, no,
you're still doing
they're buying
you're
something,
still doing your art then? Aisha, you're still doing your art now. That's what you're saying?
My art is okay. Actually, I discovered it. I don't know why. But
no, that's good. That's good. So how did you collide with the SpaceX? How did that come about?
Well, I in 2020, end of the 2020, I created video. You can find it on YouTube.
Okay.
And like on my website as well. I think I have it. Where I send my artwork to Elon Musk, asking him to send my art to the space. I sent my artwork to Jeff Bezos, asking him to send me as a first artist astronaut to do art in the space. And Richard Branson, that I can paint his rocket, Virgin Galactic. So I sent all of them to the offices, and so like eventually I was talking to my friends about that. I was like, oh, I showed them my video that I did because I was like, kind of like, I didn't care, like, this is my video. So I'm like, oh, you're so egocentric. I'm like, all artists are egocentric, it's normal. Whatever you call it, it's fine, I don't care, like, oh, you're selfish. I said, okay, whatever. I don't care, like, it's like, whatever you say to me, look at yourself, I don't say this words. And then what happened is one of my friends, she was also artist, she sent me like on Instagram, oh, this is your dream, it's connected to your dream, look, this is like opportunity, like somebody is like doing this project, sending artworks to the space. So I applied to the project, I've been selected, and I went for the interview, and they selected all my artworks, engraving golden plates, and sent it to the space with the SpaceX. And my friends, I was sending to many of my friends apply. Nobody applied. And I asked them, why? And they asked me, how did you send your art to the space? They were asking me. I was like, I just applied. And it was connected to my dream. Because that was my dream. I wanted to be there. And I was thinking, if this opportunity arrives, I get to take this opportunity because it's connected to my dream. That's what I want to do. That's one of my dreams in my life. I didn't know how it's going to be. I didn't know when it's going to be. I just knew that this is what I want to do. And they were like, oh, okay. I said, probably it's not your dream. that was not your dream. That's why you didn't apply, and that's why I'm always looking for the opportunity that connected to my dream, to my dream life, that's connected to what I want to create manifest in my life. So I'm just so patient, and at the same time, I don't have any expectations. I just know that it's going to happen in some point of my life. And I'm not like really looking for that, oh, when it's going to happen, I'm not like anymore putting that energy and time to like, I want to do this now, I get to look for all the opportunities now. No, it's going to happen naturally, that's what I trust. Everything in life has a time and what that's called, like a time and the right moment. Everything, like I'm just trusting to the process. I'm here to enjoy my life, and I'm here to create a joyful life for myself. I'm not here to stress or worry or like whatever. I'm here to enjoy each day of my life. It doesn't matter what people say to me. I decided to be joyful. I decided to be happy. I decided to be positive. It's my choice every day. It doesn't matter which conversation I will have with someone, and I will always move towards a solution or a positive thinking or positive action. I don't want people look at life, oh, poor me. No, not victimize your life. It's so much you have. You're already privileged. And this is what I used to say to my friends. You're already privileged by living in Europe. You're already privileged by living in United States, by being American. You're already so privileged. Just learn your privilege. Learn how to stay in that privilege and appreciate that privilege. Because not so many people privileged like you, right now have opportunity to travel around the world, doing so many things, being creative, do whatever you want, and not so many people.
I agree.
When you're looking at all the world, actually maybe just 2%, maybe like 1% of the whole population of the world have this opportunity. But people don't think about that. They just victimize themselves, they victimize their life, and I didn't. I said, like, you know what? If I would stay there where I am and continue to cry about what I don't have instead to focus what I have, and I used to say all the time, I have me. I can do absolutely anything I want in this lifetime because I have me, and it's enough. It's more than enough. The rest is just coming like naturally, And I'm focusing what I have now, I'm always focusing what I have now, what I can do with what I have now, And people don't focus, they don't even understand. They don't even like, they're always looking for what they don't have.
How do these people get in touch with you? Because your story is great. And I want to tell you, thank you so much. I think it's wonderful. I think you've done a lot of cool things. And thank you for sharing your heart and your passion, because I think you're very passionate about what you're creating and manifesting. And I love it. I think that's awesome. You are that small percent that's been able to manifest what you want. And I think it's beautiful. But somebody listening to this may want to get in touch with you. They might want to pick up your book. They might want to follow you on social media. I don't know, keep up with what you're doing. Where do you want us to send them so they can get in touch with you?
I have a website, Aisha.today, is AISHI.today, where people can book a time with me, and where they also can look at my mentorship program. I'm also mentoring people about, I have different programs about dream life, about joyful living. And I also have my book that you can find on Amazon, Joyful Living Guidebook. You can just go to Amazon and just like write Joyful Living Guidebook by Aisha Makara, and you can, it's like it's there and it's in hardcover. It's with my art in it, and some different ideas, the way you can improve your life and live more joyful. And I have also, right now I'm going to do my exhibition next year in March or April here in Lisbon. If somebody is in Lisbon, I'm based in Lisbon. I'm always happy to, meet people and, show them around. You can always connect me through my website. It's more easy, and
okay, perfect. We'll make sure that your links get in on the show notes so they know how to catch up with you. And you said what you were going to do, because I was like, what's going to be coming up next? And you got your expo coming up in March and April. So good luck with getting that all pulled together. I'm sure you're going to do magnificent. I love that you're a planner and you kind of you sort of kind of like decide what you want to make happen. And then you just kind of float in there and start making it happen. And we know as leaders and entrepreneurs and creators, whatever we want to call ourselves, we know that not everything is easy. It's really about decisions in the mind and bringing into action what you think you want. And so thank you for reiterating this over and over in the message. It's like, if we could put a title on it, we need to put something about do not run on autopilot. Create your destiny. Because Aisha says, do not run on autopilot.
Oh, that's bad.
I love it. Well, I want to thank you. I know we're coming up on here. We've been on here for a while, so I know we're coming up on here. You and I could probably chat forever, but I know you got things to do and I got things to do, and I know our audience does too. So thank you.
We got to create our own podcast, our podcast where we're talking about dates. Remember?
What are you talking about? Don't live on autopilot. Do not live on autopilot. Create your destiny. No, I love it, Aisha. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your wisdom, and keep doing your thing. I mean, it's working for you. You're happy. And I think that's what life is really about. It's about creating those joyful moments so that you're not always waiting for the end. You're living life in the fullest, in the moment, all the time. And it's not always perfect, but if you can overall live like that, you're going to be much happier than waiting for those destinations in the end. So thank you for saying that. Of course, to our audience, if you found this episode, we hope both inspiring and informative, go do all the things. You got to hit the like, the subscribe, comment, share, do all the things so we can continue sharing all this fabulous content. And as I always say when we end this show, in order to live the extraordinary, you must start. And every start begins with a decision. You guys take care, be safe, be kind to one another, and we will see you next time.
Bye for now.